Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone, and happy England Day. My name is Reece. I've got Big P, and hopefully we've got Doctor coming. But today is the provisional England squad. Let me stop talking and let me pass over to the man of the moment, Big P. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good to you.
Good.
I'm quite excited for this one today. I think it could be, from what I'm hearing and seeing from reports, there's a few unexpected players that have been named and a few players that were expected to be and that haven't been named. So, all interesting times to be an England fan, I suppose.
Okay, so this is a talk sport type of format. We have promoted this show. There's been links that have been sent out. If anyone has a link, please feel free to put it in the comments. And anyone that wants to come on, unless you have their say about the England squad, please come in. How long are we gonna giving people individually?
I'd say, I think there's a few talking points, mate. Let's start off with 5 and then we'll go from there, I think. Because it's quite hard to get your point across in a couple of minutes.
Yeah. So at this present moment, Big P, I mean, actually, you know what? Let me just say a great show yesterday with like you and Joe, and you guys covered a lot of points regarding like the England squad. I mean, has like any opinions changed from last night till today regarding the selection?
I think from what I've seen, no. It's quite interesting that he's left Rashford at home. I think Vinesy had Rashford in his side, but then said later on that it would either be Sancho or Rashford. Now, I've seen no reports on Sancho at the minute, but for me, no. I still think a lot of mine are there or thereabouts in the squad. I think the big surprise for me, mate, is Adam Walton, who's had obviously a fantastic end to the season at Crystal Palace. And for me, I find it hard to now Southgate's named him, I find it hard to see how he drops him out of that 26-man squad.
Yeah. So with the Wharton situation, I mean, I know I was a huge advocate of Ross Barkley being like in the 26 because of his ball retention. And literally what I've seen with Wharton, he's got very similar attributes. And I think he's the type of player that can actually dictate play. It's very, unassuming. And, you are absolutely right now. I mean, because he's been mentioned, it's very hard not to at least have a look at him, at least.
Yeah. I think we've got 2 friendlies. I think he names his squad on the 7th of June, which is the same day that we have our last friendly. And I think if Walton plays both or at least one of them, and has a good game, I would say that he'll be on the plane. And talking to Palace fans on TikTok, obviously Doc being a massive Palace fan, Tom as well, they speak very highly of this character. And obviously the Blackburn fans that we know, they talk highly of him, and we'll get to see him leave for London. So I'm quite interested now to see where Southgate's going. He had to take a risk. He's took the risk, and we'll see where he goes from here.
Sure. I think we have Doctor in the background. I think he's going to add himself in. Is he going to add himself in? Oh, there you go.
Afternoon. How we doing?
You right, Doc?
We are
good.
Good. Big shout out to everyone that's in the comments. We have Katie in the comments. Good afternoon to you, Katie. We have T. William as well coming in. And what Katie said about Ross Barkley, I'd rather Ross Kemp than Ross Barkley in England in the Euros. Yeah.
I think it's a bit harsh on Ross Barkley. I think he's had a pretty decent season at a struggling Luton side. So I do think had he been there, I think it would have been a surprise. Don't get me wrong, but I also wouldn't have been surprised, if you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
In the fact that I think he's had a pretty decent season at Luton, but yeah, I think his time with an England shirt on's over, innit? But we say that he's been linked with Villa at the moment, so never say never, I suppose.
Doc, a really good show yesterday. Has any of your opinions changed from the conversation with Joe till now?
Well, if you believe the rumours that's breaking, then it sounds like Southgate's actually found a pair of Kazumas in his pants, and he's actually made a few right decisions, which is very un-Southgate-like. So that's a bit of a surprise, yeah.
And
so just to let you know what we know so far, that's on Sky Sports as we speak. Obviously, Jared Braithwaite in. These are all ins, by the way. Jared Braithwaite, which is the Everton centre-half. Curtis Jones, Jarrell Kunasha of Liverpool, Eze from Palace, Walton from Palace, Mainu and Dunk. And then out is Rashford, James Chilwell and Henderson. That's what we know so far. Obviously, Southgate will confirm this at 2 p.m.
Okay, hold on. So, James Jones is in the.
He's in the provisional squad, yes.
Jones is, yeah.
And Konza?
No, not Konza. The Jarrell, the Liverpool centre half.
Yeah.
He's in the provisional squad as well. So that's what we know so far. Ready for Southgate to confirm at 2 p.m.
And then who's out?
Rashford, Reece James, Chilwell, Jordan Henderson.
Okay.
So I think the turbulent season that Jordan Henderson's had obviously started in Saudi, then made his way to Ajax. I think he's only played something like 13 games for Ajax since being there. So yeah.
Interesting. Big shout out to Hayden. Welcome. And T. Williams said Lewis Dunk is in.
He's in the provisional he's in the unconfirmed provisional squad as what we know so far. Obviously, just waiting for Southgate to confirm.
Let's be honest. Southgate has used about 30 players in his warm-up games, if you think about it logically. If you think about how many goalkeepers he's used that are available, I don't think there's going to be that many surprises like with regards to like a Dunk being a provisional. If Dunk makes it all the way, I'll be surprised because I just feel like he's the one that should drop out when the numbers start to drop out. But at this moment in time, when you're announcing 30, this isn't like the old days where we were only announcing 23-man squads. He's announcing 30 players, which means a lot of these surprise ones are gonna not be as surprising because of the sheer quantity that he's got to pick. So, obviously with regards to Henderson, I am surprised that he hasn't made the 30 solely because of the fact that Southgate seems to be to go-to man. I think any logical football fan wouldn't have expected Henderson to be in there this time round. He hasn't done enough this year to warrant it. And like we spoke about last night with our special guest, he's taken the shirt away for someone that's actually earning it and that's actually warranting that shirt now. If you want to take him, you take him as a coach. You don't take him as a player because he's just not got the legs to actually set foot on the pitch.
Big shout out to Tom. So Tom is here, and then we also have Moza, and we also have Mark waiting in the wings. Just to let everyone know, this is a Talk Sport format. So I believe that the streaming link has been passed around. Please feel free to click that link. And when the squad is announced, Big P or like Doc will literally allow people to come in, to like talk 2-3 minutes or so regarding the like selection. Katie has come in and said it's like kind of like a light bulb has been switched on in Southgate's head. Very interesting. But hey, you know what? He's got like nothing to lose. If he wins, I think he's gonna go. If he loses, I think he's gonna go as well.
Yeah, I think we both said it last night. All three of us said it last night. No matter what happens, he's gone. And I don't think he won't be sacked. He'll just walk away at the end of his contract, and there you go. I'm intrigued to see what sort of 30 players he's got on here because I struggled to pick 26 yesterday, and he's now got to pick 30. So interesting.
So So literally, Tom says, how do you dial in? If KE, Jonesy, or Mark can actually put the green room link in the comments, and then literally that is how you get onto the show.
Tom, I have sent you the link on TikTok, mate. If you check your inbox on TikTok, I've just sent you the link to the show. Just put it in the search engine of Google, and it will bring you straight into the studio.
So Thomas said Southgate has to take risks at this tournament and roll the dice as he's got nothing to lose. NG Southgate finally had some sense, but they also say that England will still not win the Euros. Thank you. Is it yourself, Doc, or Big
Yeah,
P?
Me.
Cool. So yeah, listen. I mean, again, we are biting our nails. We are biting our nails to actually see exactly who's actually going to be in the squad. Doc, Wharton. I mean, I think you are probably the best person to actually talk about his impact at Palace.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. With the emergence of the kid, and I will call him a kid, because he obviously arrived at Palace at 19 years of age. He arrived with a reputation from Blackburn as being a very, very good footballer with a lot of potential. I don't think no one realised the potential that he had with regards to whether he could do it on the big stage or not, because there is a big difference in like the pace of the Championship to the Premier League. He's taken to it like water off a duck's back. He's literally walked into that team, and from the minute he's turned up, I don't think he's had a... In fact, that's not fair to say. I don't think he's had a bad game. He had a very, very torrid debut, because he literally got brought on quite early on in a game, about 3 minutes, 3 days, after he arrived at the club. And it was against Brighton, and we took a bit of a battering. And you know something? It just shows the character of the guy. The fact that even when he's made his debut and had a bit of a stinker, he still managed to shrug that off real quick, find his feet. And the way he plays football, he just keeps it very, very simple. He just basically finds space and he passes the ball to people in space. And he's not shy to try and thread the ball. And with regards to people saying about like defenders and midfielders breaking lines, etc., this is a guy that does it. He literally he puts his foot on his ball and he finds people in space. And he's not a flashy player. He's not a player that will set the world on alight. He's not that sort of guy where, you know, he won't score many goals. He won't win you many games himself. But what he does is, like I said, he just keeps the ball moving. He keeps that ball. He retains that ball and he puts us on the front foot. And he always seems to find the player in the pocket. And you know, Eze seems to be loving playing with him. He seems to have brought out the best in Eze with regards to... Eze now knows that when he's standing there, Walton will find him. And that's exactly what he's doing. And he's doing it quick. It's not none of this dilly-dallying, password, sidewards. As soon as he gets it, his first instinct is getting the ball forward, getting it into the feet of the 3 players that he knows that he's going to be able to create like an opportunity. And for me personally, there's no one else in the England setup that offers what he offers. If Rice got injured in the first game, we've got other players that can play in the position, but not play the position like the way that Wharton does. And I think Wharton would do the exact same for England that he does for Palace. And he can get that ball forward to them 3 attacking players, the ones that are going to win you the matches. So for me, I'm a massive, massive fan. And if he doesn't go, from a Palace perspective, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered if he doesn't go, because he can rest up and enjoy his break. But from an England point of view, he should go. He deserves to go. And even if he doesn't set foot on the pitch, the experience that he will gain from there, you know, he will be ready. Trust me when I say this, he is the future of that midfield. Him and Declan Rice in that midfield is the future for England in that sort of holding role.
I think it's very interesting when you've got a report coming from Rob Dorset, who's at St George's Park, and it says that Adam Morton only made his England under-21 debut in March, which is 2 months ago, and he is now already being in the provisional squad for the Euros. It's a key position for Southgate, that holding midfield role, and he has done it so well for Crystal Palace. his composure and ability on the ball has given him this opportunity. So
Yeah.
I think
I don't read too much into this under 21 malarkey. Obviously, in an ideal world, you know, will.
It's not about reading into it. It's the fact that he made his debut for England as at under 21 level 2 months ago, and already we're now looking at him going to the Euros. Which, don't get me wrong, I think it's fantastic. And had he not been in the Championship, he'd probably been playing straight into the England first side. But yeah, I'm proper excited to see this guy, and I've spoken to Doc and others offline about him quite a lot, and I think I agree with Doc. It's definitely the future of that midfield.
The point I was trying to make is I'm not reading too much into the fact that he hasn't got like years of experience, and the fact that he's being, you know, like with Southgate bringing up some of the other ones through the ranks. This guy doesn't need it. He's doing it in the Premier League, and I think he reminds me of Mainu as well with regards to the fact that these two lads, they don't seem phased. And if you're not phased, I'm a strong believer if you're good enough, you're old enough, and age shouldn't hold these people back. We've seen it before, and we'll see it again. And in that position, the composure that these two have got on the ball, it's very unique. You don't normally get that at such a young age.
I've got a question for you both.
You know what? Sorry, Big P. I want you to actually quickly, I'd say, answer this like question, because I was just thinking about when we were talking about Wharton, an ex West Ham player that for me has had very similar attributes that really went underneath the radar, which I would probably compare Wharton to. Is
you're going to say Michael Carrick?
Michael Carrick.
There we go.
Yeah, very similar, mate. Very similar. And I think from what I've seen of him, I did West Ham Palace at Selhurst Park, and he went off injured in that game, roughly around the 70-minute mark, and he was the best player on the park. And Palace had scored probably, I think they were 4-0 up at this point. Do you know what I mean? And he was the best player on the park. And I spoke to Doc after that game, and I said that Adam Morton, he's some player. And I think there is a lot of similarities in the way that they both play football, in the way they keep the ball, their distribution. He can pass 10 yards, he can pass 60, 70 yards. Do you know what I mean? Maybe tackling, he's probably a better tackler than what Carrick was. Carrick wasn't really renowned for a tackle, but Wharton, up from what I've seen of watching Palace, even on telly, he looks like he can handle himself in a tackle. Do you know what I mean? But they're very similar players when they're on the ball. I'm as I say, I'm excited to see him. I hope he goes. I really do, because as Doc says, if Rice gets injured in the first couple of games or don't make it out the friendlies, then who do you really play there as a holding midfielder?
True. Katie says she thinks she'll cry if Wharton was on the plane. Tom says, I think Wharton going to the Euros is like a bit of an emergence. It feels like the emergence of Calvin Phillips going to the Euros in 2020. Big shout out to Cameron. Germany at a good price. Before we even talk about that, Big P, there was a question that you want to ask.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask both of you. I will start with you, Tabriz, because I think Doc will have a better, more to say on the situation. But do you think that Southgate takes Wharton and Mainu in the same squad, or do you think he takes one or the other?
Well, that's a good question. I think he's just got to take one. Yes, we are praising Southgate for literally, quote unquote, opening the floodgates, but I think he's also got to be careful to still have experienced players around both like type of technical and young players. I think if I was going to choose one of them, I'm excited because you know what? I'll be absolutely honest with you. I've not seen, Wharton play, so I think it'd be very unfair for me to even choose one. But did
you not watch him absolutely dominate your midfield at Anfield? No,
he didn't. Anyway, So, but yeah, you literally. I think it'd be very unfair for me to choose one. But whoever goes out of those two, I believe they will have a part to play. They are not there just as passengers. I think I think it's definitely going to be exactly what Doc and yourself, Big P, said. I think they are literally going to have starring roles for like England, but I don't know who to select.
Interesting. Go on, Doc. What's your take on it?
Oh yeah, I was just saying he absolutely dominated that midfield at Anfield, and that was one of obviously that was where people had to start taking him a little bit more serious, because that was when we ruined Liverpool's title hopes, and obviously the world was on Liverpool at the time because they was about to do the quadruple. So, I think that put him in the limelight, and that really made people stand up and take notice of this guy. He's obviously done it a few more times since then. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a fluke. But with regards to the two, I'll take them both. I would take them both. I think this England team need youth. They need legs, and they need people. Stop laughing, you two. I don't know what's funny. I'm being deadly serious. But I think they should both go. I honestly think they should both go. I think it would be good for England in the future. Even if they don't, I wouldn't necessarily say they both get minutes. I think they both should go, especially when we can take a bigger squad than we've ever taken before. I'm going to say something that people are going to probably think I'm trying to fish a little bit here, but I'm generally not. I always saw Trent playing that role, and now Walton's in there. I don't think you need Trent to play that role. So Trent needs to now find another position, because for me, I always thought Southgate would play him in that role there, doing exactly what Walton offers you. But bearing in mind Walton's doing it week in, week out, I don't see how Southgate can use that anymore. So for me, Trent is going to need to be predominantly used on the right or further forward. He doesn't seem to fit that position anymore. But with Mainu and Walton and the conversation amongst two, they're very, very different players. It's not the case of they're competing for the same position in my eyes. Walton doesn't play the Mainu role, and Mainu doesn't play the Walton role. So I don't see any reason why they both can't go. That's my. I don't know whether he'll take them both, because it will be the easy option to drop one of the younger lads with the perspective of it's too soon for them. But like I've said before, I don't believe in it's too soon. I believe that if you're playing right here, right now, with the form that you've got right here, right now, going into a competition, then ultimately that's what you should be going with, not someone that's done it in the past.
You just talking about Trent, I wouldn't be surprised to see Trent used as a further forward midfield player. And what I mean by that is coming off the bench. Should we need something magical to happen, should I say? I want to make Tabriz smile, so I'll use the word magical. If we need to break the lines, I wouldn't be surprised to see Trent play a bit further forward for England instead of that holding role. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure Trent wore a number 10 shirt for England not so long ago. So I'm not saying to play in the number 10 role, but he definitely wore that number 10 shirt. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him play further forward.
I mean, let's be honest here. Yeah, if like England are 1 goal down with about 10, 15 minutes, and you got Trent or Cole Palmer on the bench, I'm picking Palmer. I'm not picking Trent.
It's a tricky one though, isn't it? Because if you want someone to create an assist from a corner, and you want someone that's going to stick it on like a stone's head, then you want Trent. So Trent, like, as silly as it sounds, Trent is like the set piece specialist. If you've got a free kick, a dead ball, I'd still probably want Trent over it. So
unless he's going to take James Ward-Prowse, of course.
Well, yeah, there is that.
You know what? But you know what? That's Doc. That's actually fair regarding now. Where does Trent play? Again, we are blessed with amazing midfielders. Back in the day, it was defenders that we had. But now, I actually believe that we have midfielders that are comfortable on the ball, that play with no fear. and can also are very, very flexible as well. I can play wide left, wide right, number 8s, number 10s, 6s as well. I don't want to talk too much about a particular. No, actually, let's kind of talk about Conor Gallagher. I'd love to know what you guys think about him.
I would take him. I said I'd take him from a few weeks ago. I just think he wouldn't start in my starting 11, but I would take him as a backup. Has he had a great season? Well, Chelsea have finished 6th and probably one of their worst seasons to date. So I wouldn't say he's been blessed with a great season. He's not the most eye-catching player to watch, is he? Let's be honest. But he gives you that 110% week in, week out. And again, Doc will probably have to elaborate a bit more on Gallagher because he would have seen him play for Palace. But yeah, I think I would have took him, is my answer.
Doc?
As much as you say that I see him at Palace, he doesn't play the same role at Chelsea that he did at Palace. So it's very, very difficult for me to give an accurate, honest answer because I would only be talking about the past tense Gallagher and not the one that's played this year. The interesting thing about Gallagher is a lot of Chelsea fans that we talk to, they feel like playing Gallagher in that role is actually keeping Palmer out of his best position. So it's a tricky one for me because I think he goes 100%. I think he goes, but I just don't see where he fits in that England's team. I don't see, like Tabriz just said, if we're in that sort of game and we're making a sub, I don't see why you'd bring a Gallagher on. It's more for me. It's you bring a Palmer on if he's not starting, or you bring one of the other ones on that's going to get you a goal. And for me, Gallagher's not that guy. He's not.
Go on, Doc. Sorry.
No, go on.
I think we're looking at it two-dimensional, that we're one up. Let's go let's go that we're winning the game.
Yeah.
Right? We've got France in the semi-final, whatever. Yeah. We're 1-0 up.
He's still not that guy.
But for me, he's that one that he's the workhorse within that midfield. He'll chase everything. Do you know what I mean?
But he's still not that guy. He's not. He'll chase everything. But if you can't have it both ways. We're either one down and chasing the game, and he's not that guy because he's not the one that's going to score it, or we're 1 up and we want to secure it, and he's not that guy to trust there. That's where for me, that's where you'd take off a couple of the attacking players and maybe bring on a Walton and a Mainu and a Rice all to sit there deep, So this is the problem. Gallagher, unfortunately for me, he's come along with regards to England at the wrong time for him because he's got too many people in front of him for me.
People who are watching, do not be afraid. We do not bite. Please feel free to click the link and talk about this England squad. We have one person waiting patiently.
I'm just listening to Paul Merson as pretty surprised that Rashford isn't in the provisional squad. Obviously not been confirmed yet, but what's your take on that? I think he's quite a key player for England, or has been. Do you think it's literally personal reasons, or do you think it's literally his form for Man United just let him down?
Well, I mean, if we kind of looking at form, then he's not being the best. He's not being in the best of form for the whole of this season. And if Gareth Southgate is sticking to his kind of manifesto of saying picking players who are in form, then Rashford is not that player. However, Rashford hasn't let England down really in an England shirt. But again, he kind of, he's left Sterling out, and Sterling for me didn't really do nothing wrong in the England shirt.
Rashford might not have let England down in an England shirt, but he's let himself down in a Manchester United shirt, which means he doesn't warrant that England shirt anymore.
Interesting.
Do you guys want to bring in our first caller in?
Yeah, go for it. I'm happy.
Yeah. He's been waiting patiently. Let's see what he has to say.
Impatiently. I swear you guys have got my notes. Anything I wanted to talk about, you fucking Doc started, excuse my language, Doc just literally reeled it off. How you all doing?
So just to give you an update, the provisional squad has now been announced.
All right.
I'm going to go through it from top to bottom. So your goalkeepers, Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale, and James Trafford. Our defenders of Jared Braithwaite, Lewis Dunk, Joe Gomez, Mark Geehee, Eric Konza, Harry Maguire, Jarell Konza, the Liverpool centre-half, sorry if I've got the mispronunciation there, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, Carl Walker.
Levi Colwell.
And then midfielders of Trent Alexander-Arnold, which is an interesting point that Doc's just made. Conor Gallagher, Curtis Jones, Kobe Mainoo, Declan Rice, Adam Wharton. And then going into our forwards of Jude Bellingham, Jared Bowen, Eze, Foden, Grealish, Gordon, Kane, Maddison, Palmer, Saka, Tony, Watkins.
No Solanke.
No Solanke.
And no Rashford.
No Rashford.
And no Levi Colwell, is that correct?
No Levi Colwell.
Colwell's not fit.
So there's a few surprises in there for me, and I know this is his 100-man squad that he's picked. It's 33 players that he's picked. Obviously, got to try and whittle that down by June the 7th. But some interesting takes here, I think. No Solanke, big one. Trent named as a midfielder and not in the defenders. Mark.
I wrote some names down and I did a little bit of, just to obviously get my ducks in a row. So I'll wipe Levi Colwell's name off this list. I mean, it's a great squad. I just worry about the 7 players I'm going to name now. I've got 7 England caps between them. Now, I know Doc said his opinion is if you're ready, you're ready. But Mainoo, Kwanzaa, Wharton, Palmer, Branthwaite, Eze and Henderson have got 7 caps between them in an England shirt. Now, obviously, it's just a difference of opinions, but that England shirt, if not all, will certainly weigh heavy on 1, maybe 2 of them players. It's about trying to find out who that is. But that's just my humble opinion. So it's about getting a balance. And on the Conor Gallagher topic that you was on about, I start Conor Gallagher in my starting 11 for England. So he doesn't come off a bench for defending a goal or trying to get England a goal. He starts. Alf Ramsey once replied to Jack Charlton when asked the question, how can you start me when there's better players in the team? You don't always have to have the best players to have the best team. I don't think Conor Gallagher is the best midfielder that you've got on that list, but I think he will complement Rice and Bellingham better than the others. So for me, Conor Gallagher and Barkley have got 48 caps between them. So I think Barkley should feature. And I think the go-to man, I don't look at the Slovenia fixture or the Serbia fixture. You've got to look, like you said, about the France knockout stages, a Germany in a semi-final. And they're the lineups that I'm looking at. But I just think it's quite alarming. There's 7 players. 3 of them have got no caps at all. Branthwaite, Kwanzaa and Wharton have got no caps at all. Obviously, they possibly will have 2 by the time they go to the tournament. But I don't know what's your thoughts on that.
I think interesting enough, as I say, Levi. The one for me is Tariq Mitchell. I think if you're taking Eze and Wharton, I think he should at least be in this provisional squad. And especially with we're unsure whether Luke Shaw is going to be fit. And he's named him, which is a massive surprise for me. And again, now he's named this, and correct me if I'm wrong, he can't go back now, can he, and add players into this squad for the 26-man squad. He has to use the 33 that he's used here, no?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, that's the whole purpose of naming them. You name the 33 and then you go down. You can't add to it, no. Otherwise, there'd be no point in naming 33, would there?
No.
What do you think about the squad?
Sorry, say that again?
What do you think about the squad?
I'm quite happy with it. I mean, I understand what Mark's saying, but obviously that's Mark's opinion. I've spoken to Mark about it before.
Yeah.
You can't get caps unless you're played. It's very, very simple. So, with regards to the weighing down of the jersey, these are professional footballers. These are people that are on a lot of money that are playing in the best league in the world. This isn't, we're not getting kids from League Two that are stepping up and having a big step. This is also only the Euros. This isn't the World Cup as well, may I add. So, the World Cup for me is the biggest stage where maybe they could be a little bit more daunting. But the Euros for me, every single one of them, I'm pretty sure will be more than capable of putting on that England shirt and representing our country. I'm not surprised Rashford's not in there. I'm not surprised Henderson's not in there. I have seen a comment with, you've just put it up, Tony over Solanke. I'll tend to agree with that. I think it makes a bit of a mockery of it, that what's Tony done this year that Solanke hasn't done. So for me personally, I think that is a little bit harsh, and I think Solanke can feel like he's hard done by there, because out of the two, if you only wanted to take one of the two, for me it's Solanke all day long this year, because I just think that one of them's been doing dodgy things and missed half the season. The other one's been an honest professional and has been sticking the ball in the goal as freely, if not more freely. So, if I was Solanke, I'd be sitting there right now thinking, what have I got to do to get a chance?
Can I ask? Go on, sorry, my apologies.
Mitchell definitely deserved to be in the mix. Exactly what Big P said. I don't think we've got much cover there, but I think Mitchell would just be taking up a spot if he goes, because I think Southgate knows that he wants Luke Shaw there, and if Luke Shaw's not there, I've got a funny feeling he's going to play Gomez there. So I don't think Mitchell would just be taking a spot for the sake of it, because I don't think Southgate has looked at Mitchell as an option. But I am surprised, because I think he should. And I've always said Mitchell will be the future left back for England.
So something interesting, I'm just reading, it's just broken on Sky, is Gareth Southgate has come up and said that Luke Shaw is up against it. It's a long shot for him to be going to the Euros. For me, if it's a long shot, why is he even in the squad? Again, we're picking players that are injured. It's a long shot, and now he's in your provisional squad. Are you hoping that he's fit?
Because what you've got to appreciate when he's picking people, he's not just picking people for now. He's probably looking at that thinking, our group is quite a simple group that we should get through. And if I can get him fit for a quarterfinal, then that's great. And let's be honest, if we get into a quarterfinal, you want your best players available to you. And Luke Shaw is probably the most reliable left back out of all of them.
He's saying that it's a long shot for him for the Euros. So interesting.
Okay. We have someone waiting in the wings. So, Mark, out of the 33, who would be? Is it the six? Yeah, like the six that you've got to get rid of.
Well, I mean, I get rid of Dean Henderson for and keep Ramsdale. Well, we won't go into that one in great detail, but looking at the list, I can't remember every single name.
The list is on the screen.
I can't really see it. I think.
So just to clarify, the 4 goalkeepers he's picked before you say that you're going to get rid of Henderson is Henderson, Pickford, Ramsdale, and James Trafford from Burnley.
No, James Trafford doesn't go for me then. Sorry, my bad. I assumed it was Pope, but you say it's Trafford. No, Trafford doesn't go for Ramsdale for me. The one that keeps jumping off the page for me is Kwanzaa. I think it might be a little bit too soon for Kwanzaa. The Liverpool Kwanzaa. Or Kwanzaa, however you say it. I don't have 4. Can you just name the strikers to me again, please?
Bellingham, Bowen, Eze, Foden, Grealish, Gordon, Kane, James Maddison, Cole Palmer, Saka.
Maddison doesn't go for me, and maybe Bowen doesn't go for me as well. I think there's 4. Let's look at the midfield.
Trent, Gallagher, Curtis Jones, Kobe Mainu, Walton, Rice.
I think Jones will drop out, and then at defence.
Braithwaite, Dunk, Gomez, Geehee, Konza, Maguire, Shaw, Stones, Trippier, Carl Walker.
Well, I'm gonna by default. I'm just gonna take the easy way out and say Shaw because he won't be fit in time. That's my 6. Kwanzaa, Trafford, Shaw. Who did I say midfield? Jones, Bowen, and the other side of the pitch, Madison. I think that was my list. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all fall out. Yeah, I'll be listening anyway. I'm going to try and leave and join so I can comment. How do I do that? Because the link I got was the link to go in the comments.
I'll send you the link, Mark.
Perfect. Thank you. See you later, gents.
See you later. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah. T, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. Andy, how you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? How's everyone?
Yeah, good.
Andy.
Your initial thoughts about the England squad?
Nothing. I'm quite surprised regarding Rashford. I thought I spoke to my dad, who's a Man United fan, and he thought he generally would be in the squad. And that one has shocked me. Kwanzaa as well. Didn't expect Kwanzaa to get there. And he's had, pretty good. The games I've seen of Kwanzaa, he may have had 1 or 2 poor games, but I think in the main he's been pretty good for Liverpool. Barring that, I'm not quite shocked.
Let me see if I can put the squad up in a more palatable way. But you must be happy that Palmer's in there.
Yeah, yeah. But I deserve to be there, to be honest. I don't think anyone can disagree. He's had a standout season. The last probably few weeks, he's kind of dropped off a bit and been not as good as he was, obviously, prior to the last month. But yeah, he's been really good, Carl Palmer. The one I want to talk about as well, if you don't mind, is Conor Gallagher. I heard Mark mention saying he would start him. Personally, he should be on the bench. The only with Conor, his best attribute is off the ball. That is his best attribute. On the ball, he don't offer too much creativity-wise. The one thing that I think he can improve on, and I think he's got in his game, is arriving in the box quite late and scoring goals. Because he's done that a couple of times for us, where he's been in the right place at the right time. But if, as Doc mentioned, if there's a game where we need to do something and you want him to bring him on, whether we're losing or we need to hold on to lead, I want to bring him on at all. Totally agree with Doc.
Jonesy, I just want to touch on obviously the players that haven't made it, and especially from obviously you're a Chelsea fan. I want to talk to you about Levi Colwill, Chilwell, sort of them two missing out on this provisional squad. What's your thoughts on that?
Colwill, I can understand totally both of them. Chilwell's been constantly injured, and when he has played, he's been really poor, and that's why the last month he's been on the bench because he has come back from injury, and then he picked up another injury a few weeks ago. But with us as well, with Cucurella, Cucurella's been that good. He's been on the bench. He's been stuck on the bench. Levi Colwill's been injured, and the one that's been injured. And when he has played, he's played left back. He's played a handful of games at centre back. So I totally understand why them two have not gone. Right choice.
Although Colwill was on the bench for the last game of the season.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. But again,
sorry to interrupt. The trouble is, if you're taking these players, who are you dropping out? Like, you're talking about a guy that's allegedly a centre-back playing left-back. How can you drop any of them centre-backs that are playing centre-back week in, week out for their club and doing very, very well for someone on the off chance that their club might play him at centre-back at some point?
No, but we could take him as a left-back where he plays for Chelsea. And there's plenty of players. You can drop Luke Shaw as number one. As I said, if he ain't fit, he shouldn't even be in the squad.
But Jonesy would quite openly tell you that he wouldn't. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's coming back.
Oh crap. Hold
on. Jonesy would tell you quite openly that Jonesy would take Mitchell from Palace. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. 100%.
So if Mitchell's not going, how can we take this guy?
No, yeah, as I say, he's a Chelsea fan. I totally agree with you, but I thought, from a Chelsea perspective, it would be one of them. It's a talking point, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
again,
when he gone to Reece.
no. That's sorry, Andy. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, quick point on Carwell. When he had to play left back, he struggled really bad. Even like I've seen at times when he's played left back, even wingers that shouldn't be causing him issues have caused him issues. So, like I said, for me, I'm quite. That's one that does surprise me. Dot mentioned Mitchell. I'm stunned that he hasn't gone. I'm surprised.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jonesy, but which one of your left backs played for England in the last friendly?
Ben Chilwell,
Yeah, he was awful.
bad. I was at Wembley for the what game we do? The Belgium game, and every time he had the ball, like there was opportunities he could have played a ball around the corner, because I think a couple of times Ivan Toney made good runs, and he just went backwards every time with it. So, and he's done that constantly at Chelsea. He's just going forward. He offers barely anything.
I actually think Palace might have actually said to Southgate, "You can't take all of our players, because there's too many of them in there." So that could be why Mitchell's not making.
He must have done.
Big P, Jared Bowen, you must be happy that he's going. Well, he's in the provisional squad.
He's in the squad, mate. I expect him to be in the squad. I'll expect him to be in the 26. I don't expect him to play many games, mate, to be honest with you. Again, I think if we're losing or we get an injury, he may come on the pitch. But he's been in a few England squads now. I think he will go to this tournament. Looking at the squad, I think he goes in there above Ivan Toney. I'd probably say he gets in over Cole. He gets in over Anthony Gordon. He definitely goes in front of James Maddison for me. So there's 3 players alone. And the reason I say players like Maddison, because you've got a Foden, you've got a Grealish, they play exactly the same sort of way. I don't think Anthony Gordon, he's been all right for Newcastle, but I think Bowen's had a better season at West Ham than what Gordon has at Newcastle. And I think Bowen supplied more goals, whether he scored them or assisted, than what Gordon has, and that's what I think Southgate will look at.
Completely different players, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Different
but they play the same. One plays on the left, one plays on the right. It's the same job, isn't it?
Well, no, it's not. One plays on the left, and we're struggling on the left. We've got other players that play on the left, but Gordon is. Me and Tabrice. This is something that me and Tabrice do agree on, which isn't very often.
Not often at all.
Gordon is a traditional left winger, and he offers something to the England squad that no other player offers us. He is someone that wants to stay on that byline, beat his man, and get across him. If you can name me one other player that actually does that for their club in that England setup, then I'll be very, very much surprised. A lot of the players nowadays want to cut in and get their shot away. Gordon is that guy with his pace that he can literally take the pressure off of our left back, and he's also very, very energetic going up and down that left side that not a lot of the other players will do. A lot of these other players are all very attacking minded, but will they put the shift in coming back? And for me, Gordon's got to go.
I agree.
Jonesy, what's your starting 11?
Mine would be off the goalkeeper Pickford. For me, I've got Walker right back, Maguire, Stones. If Shaw's fit, you start Shaw. If not, I'd probably go with Trippier. There's no one else left back, boys. He hasn't took Mitchell. Midfield.
It's empty with Gomez.
Nah, I'd go Trippier. Then I would go midfield 3, Reece, Bellingham, Foden. My midfield and Saka, Kane. Maybe a bit of a for me, I think the left wing is a bit tricky. One player I definitely would go. I'd probably, especially in the group stage, I'd go Anthony Gordon. As Doc said, he's a natural left winger. Holds the touchline and his delivery is pretty good. So I'd go with Gordon.
Okay. Doctor, you're starting 11.
Do I go with the best 11 or do I go with the best balanced 11? That's the $1 million question. I think Pickford in goal is a given. I think Walker at right back is a given. I think your 2 centre backs is going to be the the traditional Maguire. Maguire is there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it will be Maguire and Stones. Left back, again, like Jonesy says, I can't imagine him starting Shaw for the first game, even if he is fit, because of the fact that he's such a risk. So I would be tempted to put Gomez in at left back, but I'm quite happy with Jonesy's choice at left back, to be honest. Jonesy, who did you say would you go in at the left back again?
Kieran Trippier. Yeah.
Trippier. So Trippier at on the left. So that's the 5. Are we assuming that he's going 4-3-3?
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah.
So the 3 in midfield for me would be, and I'm solely going by the list, as in I'm assuming he's going to pick 3 from the midfielders there, as opposed to putting like Bellingham in the midfield. Does that make sense? So out of them lot, I think it goes Rice will start. I would love to see him stick Mainu or Walter next to him. I really would. I would honestly love to see one of them two there, just to give Rice a bit more cover. But I don't think he will. I think he'll go with, I think as much as they've got these as forwards, I think it will be Rice, Bellingham. I got a feeling he might go Mainu actually, and then I think he'll go Foden out on the left, Saka on the right, and Kane in the middle.
Big P.
I'm going to switch it up a bit. I'm going to go with Pickford in goal. I think he plays 3 at the back, and I think he goes Walker, Maguire, Stones. I think he has a right wing back of Trent. I think he plays Trippier left wing back. And then I think he goes with Rice holding. Hang on, I've got to get my bearings. With Bellingham and Foden. With Kane. It's hard, isn't it? Kane, Saka, Grealish.
I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. The trouble is if you're going to play Trent at wing back, it just completely and utterly makes a mockery of taking so many like right backs.
I think there a lot of them fall out, and I think what he'll do is take Walker, Trippier, and Trent with Trippier, knowing that Trippier will be his left back or his left wing back.
What's yours, T?
I'm going to go with 4-3-3. Pickford in goal, right back Walker, centre backs would be Stones and Maguire. Left back, I want to agree with you, Doctor, and I think Joe Gomez. The three in the park would be.
Is that heart or head to Reece? Is that heart or head?
No. You know what? When that Gomez was actually playing left back, Liverpool looked a lot more solid. It was a huge improvement, definitely, and literally, I think it's proved over like the past few like months that he can actually defend, and like he's really really good at it. And also as well, he can play as a centre back if needed. So yeah, no, I would play him at right back, left, sorry, and then the 3 in the park would be Rice as the 6, Jude as the 8, and Foden as the 10. Left will be Gordon, right would be Saka, and up front Kane.
See, I just think with the big question mark in this England team for me is the left back. And I think that regardless of what left back we play there, I think it's going to be the weakest link. And I just think that if with the left back being the weakest link, I think Gordon's got to start on that left side, I think that he's the only one that will cover that left back more so than any of the others. So I think I think Gordon's going to be, you know, in these competitions, there's that one player that makes the squad, but you don't expect him to play much, but seems to play the most. I think Gordon's going to be that guy.
Okay. Jonesy, what does Gareth Southgate need to do to convince you he is the man for England?
Walk.
Wow. Where to begin? For me, one thing that annoys me quite a lot with him is his in-game management. It's really poor. When I went to watch the Belgium game, and the one thing that amazed me is the Belgium manager made a sub, and that changed the swing of the game. And what he did, he just sat on his hands for about 10 minutes and done nothing, even though the game was going in a different direction. And then he made a substitution. Then he come back into our favour. Then again, the Belgian manager realised that England was going on top, and he made a sub. He's very proactive, Southgate. He don't react. He don't react when he needs to react, and that's the issue with him. And it says I don't think anything's going to convince me with him. The best thing he can do is, if he wins it, walk away. Say, look, I've got your trophy. If he loses, just walk away. Either way, walk away.
So Jay has said Mitchell should have been called up for left back, in all honesty.
100%.
I mean, he played against Belgium, right? Belgium and Brazil, right? Mitchell.
I can't remember.
No, I don't. We didn't start or play.
I don't think Mitchell's been called up to the England squad.
No, I don't.
Or was it Gahey that played left?
Gahey's been in there, but it was the Chelsea guy that played left back. I don't think Mitchell's ever had it called up. Okay. Not even in the friendly.
Last couple of questions. BAP, can England win this competition with like that provisional squad?
No. I don't think it's the strongest squad that he could have picked. And as I said, putting players in there that are injured and they're a long way from fitness is outrageous. I generally think that for the life of me, when you've got a fit Mitchell sitting at home twiddling his thumbs, and you've got a Luke Shaw you've been told, he said it, you've been told by the Man United medical staff, he may not make the Euros as a tournament. You're still putting him in your provisional squad. To me, it's outrageous. Outrageous. I just think defensively we could look a shambles against the better opponents. And let's not all get excited when we win our first 3 games in the group stage. Let's wait till we play a decent nation like your France's, your Germany's, and then we'll see where we're at. But at the moment, I can't see us winning it. No.
Doc, the same question to you.
Heart and head, mate. I want to believe, I want to get behind the boys, and I want to start chanting it's coming on. But I'm at an age now where I'm a bit of a realist, and I think when push comes to shove, I think T pretty much summed it up. I'd be a lot more confident. That left side really concerns me, and I think a lot of teams have a very strong right side, and I think that left side really worries me. And the most ironic thing is Luke Shaw fit, Luke Shaw not fit. Even if Luke Shaw's fully fit, he still worries me, especially this year. So the fact that we're pinning our hopes on Shaw is a big concern for me. And I just feel like we needed to think outside the box. We needed to go with a lot of energy and a lot of like young legs, players that other countries don't know an awful lot about. And I think that we could have potentially caused the upset against like a France in the latter stages. But no, the answer to your question, I think France will be too strong for us if we get them.
Andy?
Yeah, I agree. As Doc, I couldn't have summed up perfectly. As Doc's mentioned, that left-hand side is a worry. Kieran Trippier playing left back is a right foot, and he's not great defensively. Kieran Trippier, that's not his strongest point of the game. Play Joe Gomez there. I think he's probably a little bit more defensive-minded than him. But yeah, and Southgate's in game management, as he's shown over the tournament and the games in the Nations League and the friendlies is questionable. So yeah, I don't think we can do. I like to believe and I want to believe, but I don't think we'll do it.
Thank you, everyone that's been watching. Again, thank you to the last comment. Tom says that Mitchell was in the 2022 side with Gahey and Gallagher whilst at Palace. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We will continue this conversation. Doc, you have a TikTok handle. What is your TikTok handle if people want to watch more football?
It's exactly the same as what you're looking at right now, funny enough. It's Dr. Ketspire, or otherwise known as Mr. UK Doc Talk Official. So there is 2 linked there, but it is the one that's got the Mr. UK Doc Talk Official handle is where we do a lot of our football chats. But we have got a TikTok handle, which is the Amateur Footballer. And in the very near future, we will be switching over to that for all of our football lives, but at the moment all of our football content is all on there.
Andy, thank you so much for joining, and as well Mark, thank you to everyone that's tuned in and actually put comments on screen. We will be back very soon when Gareth Southgate actually whittles down the 33 to 26, which I believe is the 7th of June. So we will be doing a show on that. Thank you so much. Have an amazing Tuesday afternoon. We all bid you farewell.